Good morning, Daniel Adams.
Good morning.
Congratulations
Oh, thanks.
on the movie An LA Minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now you wrote this script with what I read to be, because I was a big fan of National Lampoon growing up.
Oh, so you know Ratso.
Yeah. So talk a bit about the process of coming up with this story with him.
Well, if you know Ratso, you might know country and western, sort of satirical country and western singer called, his name was Kinky Friedman.
Okay.
And Kinky was sort of the inspiration 20 some odd years ago. We were walking down Central Park South, and Kinky was kind of drunk, and he was giving change out to homeless people, and one guy, he gave everything that he had left in his pocket, and the guy said something really snide to him, and he got mad and started yelling at him, and then as he sobered up later, he said, yeah, maybe I should go apologize to the guy, and he started trying to find him. And we were like, gee, this is the beginning of a good film. It's sort of, I don't know if you know the Alfred Hitchcock calls it a MacGuffin, which is it's a
the object,
sort of the object that propels the story.
That's right.
And so that was our MacGuffin, and that's how the film started to go. But we wrote a film back then that was so outrageous we just couldn't make it. We couldn't get an actor to agree to do it.
And this was when?
Oh, mid-90s.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Mid-90s.
Took a while to finally get here.
Well, we just shelved it because it was so outrageous. We didn't want to tone it down, and for actors, we had some actors that were interested, and they were like, but you've got to do a rewrite to tone it down. We're like, no. So
yeah.
So well, we'll just go make it. But then Trump got elected, and we were like, holy crap, we've got to make this film.
Now, I watched the film, loved it. So many questions I have here, but let's start with the cast too. Incredible, Kiersey, Gabriel. How do you get them on board?
Gabriel is an old friend of my co-writers, Ratso.
Okay.
I mean, I knew Gabriel vaguely, but Ratso was really close with him. In fact, years ago, while we were writing this film, the script, we shared a production office with his now ex-wife, Ellen Barkin, and her brother, George. So the connection goes that far back. And he was just logical. He was perfect to make this to play Ted Gold. Because to me, when you do satire, it has to be played deadly seriously, and you need a real great internal actor. And he's, I think, one of the greatest. So he was perfect for the role.
And Kiersey?
Kiersey was a suggestion by my son, who's a stand-up comic. Because I asked him. I said, so his name's Jake, and I said, Jake, who's hot right now as a young actress? And he didn't even hesitate. He just said, oh, Kiersey Clemons. And I'm like, who's that? And he said, would you see Dope?
Oh, fantastic movie.
Yeah, great movie. She was amazing in it. And I said, yeah, I saw Dope. She said, well, she was the female lead. And I said, well, it's not exactly, the type of character I see Velocity. And he said, rolled his eyes. I said, Dad, she's an actress. She can do anything. I'm like, oh, duh. And he was right. She's amazing. And, she was 22 years old when we shot the film. And she was as professional and as good as 40-year veterans that I've worked with. She's just really got a natural talent for and the skills, and she's developed it all. She's amazing as an actress, and I think she's gonna be huge.
Now, obviously, from the title and the speech by Gabriel Byrne in this movie, and also the depiction of the Skid Row, what is it about Los Angeles that you want to point out to the audience here through this film?
Well, Los Angeles to me is a microcosm for the rest of the world. I mean, it's a good example because we have such extremes here. We have a couple of years ago the mayor of Los Angeles declared an emergency situation on the homelessness issue. and yet we're also one of the wealthiest cities in the world. That dichotomy, that juxtaposition makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense unless you start to analyze what, that part of human nature that just somehow is so focused on themselves they can't see what's around them. And I live in the west side of LA, and I see fancy cars rolling by, some tragic situations with homeless people, and for some reason they can't see that reality. The people driving those cars, and I don't get it. I don't get it, especially where if people realize, the key to happiness is not accumulating wealth and celebrity and so forth. The key to happiness is losing yourself by helping the world and helping other people. Service, yeah. Yeah. So, it's interesting because, for example, when the two characters go to the place where the Kiersey's character is squatting, and she has a big poster of the Vietnamese boy getting shot in the head, and Gabriel says something like, "Well, that's really cynical for you to put up there," because to him it's cynical to see something tragic. It's like just like driving by a homeless person. And to her, she said, it's not about cynicism; it's about compassion. Out of sight, out of mind is what she says. So, so she wants that poster to remind her of the tragedy in the world, and he would never think of putting a poster like that up in where he lives. So that's really the essence of it, and it's sort of a tragic theme, but by the same token, the only way to really convey tragedy is to do it through satire.
Yeah.
So it's a very funny film, and a lot of the situations are funny, but it's because that's the best way to present these issues to people. Otherwise, you're just doing a documentary.
It's thanks for pointing that out, because, like you said, the contrast between the haves and the have-nots. When I read that it was co-scripted by National Lampoon talent, I was expecting something along the line of Trading Places.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to be laughing all of that. But there's, like you said, there's some funny moments, but there's some heavy point that you're trying to drive home.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not a Trading Places kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's or a National Lampoon's Vacation or anything.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, it was like that.
No, quite the contrary. But my inspiration for the film was really Robert Downey Sr. made a movie years ago called Putney Swope.
Okay.
And that, for some reason, that film had a great effect on me, and it was a satire. And I attempted my first movie years ago, the one with Sandra Bullock, called A Fool and His Money, was my first attempt at that sort of satire, and then this is my second attempt. So hopefully I learned a little bit in the last 30 years. So that's where that was sort of the germination. That's not a broad comedy, the way Lampoon usually does. But Ratzo's more of a subtle writer than a lot of his Lampoon compatriots.
Now, is this movie trying to have a funny jab at performance art?
No, but it's certainly a jab at the human nature behind all that. No, I mean, I think
because I've been to those shows before. It's kind of weird.
If it's done right, it's a legitimate art form, in my opinion. What do I know? But but it's any art form is important if the person behind it is trying to say something that's genuine and true. Because that's the job of of an artist. It's the job of a filmmaker, whatever medium you're working in, is to shed light on the human condition and maybe to get the audience to glean something out of it. And that's that's a purpose. I mean, in a way, talking about trying to help the world to do something greater than yourself. I mean, to me, film is the most popular medium in the world. So what better place to do that than to try and So I'm not really into making films that are the I mean, it'd be great to have a big budget, but I mean, but to make these films where it warrants the big budget, these superhero movies or these comedies that or big films that don't really have an important thing to say. Mm-hmm. They're just there for entertainment purposes, and that's So there's entertainment, and then there's substance, and then there's something in between. Mm-hmm. And something in between is what you have to keep people's attention, entertain people while you're saying something important to them.
That actually goes along with Gabriel's character, because some people might call him like, oh, he's having a midlife crisis, but I watched that and I was like, everybody could go through that. I mean, sure. I could go to a point in my career where like, oh man, what's the purpose of all this? I keep doing it every day. Sure, I make decent money, but it's like looking for that higher meaning. So what you said earlier, like, so you're trying to make a film, yes, entertaining, but also it has to have substance, has to have a purpose that's embodied in Gabriel's character, basically.
Yeah. And he, he meets Velocity, Kiersey's character, and it sort of rejuvenates him to a certain extent, because he realizes what he used to think and how he used to feel years ago when he first started out. And it revitalizes him, and that's and gives him purpose again, or so he thinks.
I love it. I love this movie. As I'm winding down to my final questions, I gotta ask. You've been in this industry for a long time.
Yeah.
So you've worked with a lot of talents, including these two amazing ones. I want to ask you, as a filmmaker, over the years, watching the craze or the phase coming from, 3D phase, and then there's a found footage phase, and now we have a superhero phase. I mean, what's your opinion or take on the film industry as a whole, as from filmmakers' point of view?
I think that there'll always be room for independent filmmaking, because independent filmmakers are the ones that are there, that are actually trying to make a difference. So regardless of all these phases and all these fads, in 3D and so on and so forth, what will never die is telling an important story, and a compelling story. And if you can do that and do it such that you have something important to say, that'll never change, no matter the medium. I mean, I still shoot on 35 millimeter film, and I do it because I'm the most comfortable with it, but also because I love the process, and to me, doing a film of substance also means trying to get it right. And the process of film is different than video, because in video you shoot everything, and then you can use any footage from any take, even if it's a rehearsal. And I think the actors and the crew appreciate the fact that you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and get everything right. Whether it's the actor getting the role right, or whether it's the dolly grip getting the move right. You get it all right before you shoot, before you do a take, and that way everyone knows and everyone's comfortable and everyone trusts the fact that their best work is going to be seen, and not their worst, not their practice. And I think that process with 35 millimeter is, and I guess you could duplicate it with video, but there are a lot of other reasons too. Well, I should have filmed, but it's mandatory on film. You can't cut corners there, and I don't think that. So me and a few other filmmakers are trying to keep that alive, and I think that ultimately it'll be like vinyl records. I mean, to go back to your question, that's no matter all the different fads and all the different paths that film takes, ultimately that's what's going to survive ultimately anyway. It's an appreciation for traditional filmmaking. So.
Wait, I forgot to ask. Did you actually shoot at the Skid Row with actual homeless folks over there, or I mean, did you recreate that whole kind of area for the film?
Well, we had to recreate it
Okay,
because
okay.
you need people to sign off on their images and stuff. So
I hear you.
So you have to. But yeah, I mean, I did a lot of juxtaposition between homeless people and the actual action of the film because I have to keep reminding the audience what this is, the background here is, and how these people are so caught up in their own little world, and yet if they just looked outside, they'd realize it's a whole different world. So.
Last question.
Sure.
By the way, my hero Bernie Sanders would love this movie. But let me ask you this: so, what is the
I love Bernie. I voted for him.
what is the solution to this? I know we're going to politics kind of territory, but I want to ask your opinion because LA hasn't done much. The mayor said that a few years ago, but we haven't seen much changes. What is the solution to all this?
The solution, which I'm proposing in the film, is look. There's something greater than just yourself.
Okay.
And look around you. Look at what's going on. Because if people are not aware of the tragedy around them, they'll never be able to do something about it. So the first step is look. Be aware. Be aware. Be cognizant of things that are around you, of reality. And once you look at things more deeply, you're not going to make mistakes. We're not going to elect a guy like Trump again. But that's the thing. What the people are so caught up in celebrity and what they would do for celebrity and wealth and so on and so forth that we live in this reality TV age that we get what we deserve. And so, but if we were to stop, look, be aware, that's the first step to actually doing something. And so that's really the message of the film.
So don't wait on Eric Garcetti to do something. You can do your part.
Well, just call him up and say, do whatever it is. Go down the street to the homeless guy, ask him what's the issue here. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's drugs, sometimes it's circumstances, or whatever it is. Help. Go help that person down the street. And don't take a bow for it. Just help the person. You're going to be. That's the key to happiness. Really, is to come out of yourself and not worry about yourself anymore, but to worry about what's around you. When you lose yourself, your problems disappear. And that's so. Do it for humanity. Do it for selfish reasons because you want to be happier. I mean, that's it's always a duplistic reason anyway. So do it, but that's what the film is about, and I hope the message ultimately is what I'm trying to convey. So,
well, Daniel, thank you for the opportunity and the time.
Yeah,
Congratulations
thank you
on an LA Minute.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.